In October of 2012, the New York Civil Liberties Union issued a report called Boxed In, which was the conclusion of a year-long investigation regarding the use of solitary confinement in New York prisons. And what we found is that solitary confinement was used far too often on far too many people for the wrong reasons.
The use of solitary, which has a long but relatively modern history in this country, originally started with trying to put the most violent, predatory kinds of inmates in there. Unfortunately, in too many jurisdictions, it has become to be used for folks who don't represent that kind of immediate or imminent threat of violence.
Solitary confinement is used quite often against people who have committed the most minor infractions.
I had charges like pencils, unnecessary amount of stamps, unauthorized items like magazines from a friend. All the charges were frivolous charges.
In New York, solitary confinement means being locked in a small cell, typically the size of an elevator, 23 hours a day. For 1 hour a day, you get recreation, which is often in a small cage, smaller than your cell, and directly attached to your cell.
So even for your hour of recreation, it's like being trapped in your bathroom and they just open the shower curtain and let you in there for rec. People always ask me, how did you survive solitary? The fact of the matter is that nobody survives solitary.
People who are placed in solitary confinement suffer harm almost immediately.
To me, it's like an abyss of boredom. What is it to do past counting all the tiles on the wall, staring at the paint so much that you can see the paint strokes on the wall, counting the cracks in the ceilings? When there's no stimulation, your brain starts to deteriorate and fills in the points of memory loss with imagination.
The hard part for corrections officials is understanding what the experience of solitary confinement is like on the inside of that door. When you're confined in that cell, everything that happens to you, everything that comes to you through that cell door is magnified beyond belief.
Where the little noise from the wind whistling under the door starts to sound like voices, and you can't drum out the sound of muffled thousands of voices that you can't really hear clear, but some are screaming, some are banging on the doors, asking for attention.
Addressing solitary confinement is about addressing that immediate harm, and it's also about addressing issues that are important to public safety outside of the prison walls.
I was released from solitary, bus ticket, $40, 42nd Street, 10 million commuters. I had an emotional breakdown. I thought I was having a heart attack, I was having a panic attack. So many people around me, people are moving, like I forgot how big New York was. That is a crash to someone's system.
The case that I'm working on is Peoples v. Fischer. It's a class action challenging the use of solitary confinement in New York prisons.
In this class action lawsuit, we're taking on the fourth largest prison system in the country, 60 facilities, 55,000 prisoners. Our class action complaint purports to represent all 55,000 of those individuals. And what we're talking about in seeking prospective injunctive relief in this case is comprehensive reform of the way that these practices are used in the system.
The prison system in New York is very old, very complex, and very resistant to change in a lot of ways. Ultimately, lasting change is going to require the buy-in of the prison officials and the prison guards, and trying to get that buy-in is a real challenge.
It has been absolutely essential to have the partnership of Morrison Foerster on this litigation.
We have the resources to really be able to help bring experts into the case, work with statistical experts, and I think we really have a role in trying to help bring everyone to the table, find pragmatic solutions, and ask people to set ideology to the side to some extent to find common ground.
The lawyers from Morrison Foerster's dedication, time, and energy in assisting us in litigating this case is part of what has made it so successful.
Seeing the national reaction to an interim settlement that we reached that implemented a number of changes, and the favorable reaction to that really makes it look like this may become a model for change throughout the country, and that's exciting.